Well, this is a day in the life in our mechanic work. I'm driving up to my new shop here. This is my newest building. We built this one about 3 years ago. It's 60 by 160. And this is a wrecked truck we had. We unfortunately had a truck that was wrecked. Now I've got all new LED lights in this shop. As you can see, I've got about 64 LED lights, I believe it is. And it lights up the shop real good, and we're able to see all around. Now over here, again, there's the wrecked truck. That one unfortunately was done by a driver. I had to let him go because he had had a couple of accidents, but he rear-ended a car, and cost me a good bit on that. Cost me a good bit for the accident too. But as you can tell, it pretty well total loss this truck. We were able to scrap it. We've got a good motor and transmission and a few things that we've taken out of it, but that one we went ahead and scrapped, and we took a few essential things off of it, and then we've gotten rid of it. Now here is our one of our newest tools that we got. We got a motor mount, and we can actually put our Detroit engines on that and overhaul the engine and spin the engine around. So it's got a mount that mounts the side of the engine, and then you can take all the pistons out of it and the liners and spin it around, and it's got a crank, as you'll see on the back of it, and you can spin the entire engine upside down so you can work on it. And here's another new addition. We've got our milling machine. Got a Grizzly milling machine. We hadn't got to put that to work yet, so that's something new we're going to try to implement in the next little while, in the near future. But right now it's kind of sitting idle, waiting on space. We got to clear out some spaces in this shop. The shop's a big shop, but unfortunately, as you see, it's pretty crowded. We have a lot of toolboxes and just a lot of things all in the shop. Unfortunately, I'm a pack rat, so I've accumulated a lot of things over the years. Now here is a demonstration of our sterile Coney lifts, and they're 14,000 pounds per tower, as they call it, and we can lift up our tractor trailer trucks, and we can get underneath them and put transmissions up, clutch, it's real good for a clutch job, and that sort of stuff, or anything else too, if it's exhaust or whatever, anything that we need to do that we don't want to crawl under a truck on a creeper. That's what we can use those for, and it's become real handy though. I mean, the guys really like it. We also have a transmission jack from Sterile Coney that's a real neat transmission jack. It's expensive, but it was good too. That we can lift the entire transmission up in the clutch. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But that's our Sterile Coney lift, and it's been a very good asset to the shop. So we can't knock it at all. That's people that have had to work on creepers all their life will understand real quick how much of an asset that is, and how much easier it is to work on equipment when it's up like that. A lot of people have pits and work in a pit. Now there's the new clutch sitting in the floor waiting to have the clutch put in. I think that's what this one is a clutch job. And of course, a lot of times when we do the clutch, we go ahead and do the front shaft on the transmission, because a lot of times that front shaft is worn out too. So you kind of have to do both at the same time usually. And here's a variety of our toolboxes. I have a lot of toolboxes. I bought, I got a real good deal from Home Depot. They had these Husky boxes on sale. I got them real cheap. I mean, they're not the high dollar boxes and everything else, but they're real adequate for me. And we like them pretty good. Now here is a Mustang that my wife has. I bought that for her several years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago. It's a 68 Mustang convertible, and it's a lot like and almost the same color as a 68 Mustang she had when she was a young girl. This is where we do the hubs. We do a hub assembly a lot of times for our trucks, and this is a little area that we got set up to do hub assemblies for the fan hub assemblies. We got our press and a few other things, few specialty tools set up, so it's real easy to assemble those there, and that's what we do right there. That here is an engine that we took out of a truck that was burned, and actually the one right in front of you there is also burned. We've had two over the last 15-20 years. I've had two trucks that burned up. This particular one, that 704 you see there, that was a wiring problem. The company that put the cameras in our trucks, the boy wasn't too good on wiring. He cross-wired some things and caught the electrical on fire with my truck as it was going down the road, and it burned the truck completely up. We're able to salvage a few things. We got a motor and a transmission, a rear end out of this truck too. So we were able to salvage a few things, not much on the cab. The hood, was able to salvage the hood because the boy had actually flipped it up to see where the smoke was coming from. And when he did, all that oxygen hit underneath and it just blazed up bigger and everything. So that's why we have a hood, but we don't have much of anything else as far as the cab and chassis. Well, the chassis is still decent. It didn't warp the chassis. But the motor still seems to be okay. It didn't actually burn much on the motor because more of the fire was under the dash. And the motor itself is not damaged. Now, it probably needs an overhaul. It has some mileage on it. And we've gone through and we've robbed a few parts off of it here and there when we needed them. But all in all, as far as block assembly and that sort of stuff, we'll be able to probably overhaul that engine and have us another good 60 series engine. We've got several. I've got probably 5 or 6 60 series engines that I want to overhaul. So that's where I stand with that truck. And like you said, you can see, I think we've already taken the transmission out of that one. We've already robbed the transmission and the rear end. So we don't have all the parts to it. So it's a parts truck. We're going to part it out and use what we want. Now here's a handy little tool I've got. I've got what they call a Bobcat tool cat, and we use that to pick up everything with the forklift, and it's air conditioned. I've got a lot of it takes all the Bobcat accessories, so I can put my mower on it and everything else. So any Bobcat accessory. Now here is the transmission jack, the Stereo-Coney transmission jack I was telling you about, and it's very good. Good air over hydraulic, and it'll lift it all the way up as high as you need it, and you just strap the transmission on there. Of course, we've got air and a couple different air levels all over the shop. And here is a bolt. Here's my bolt bends for the shop. Now what we've done, we took, again, like I said, we got the Husky toolboxes on sale, and we converted them into bolt bends. So as you'll see, I've got the bolt bends there, and what I did, I took the wooden top off that came with it because it was just wasn't a real thick, and I doubled up 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, 8 foot long, and trimmed it to the size of the top of the toolbox. And then that way I was able to put a real strong top on there so I could put those heavy bolt bends on top of that. And then we had, like I said, you'll see right there, we put the separators and everything in there, and we're able to get some good bolt bends made out of these inexpensive Husky boxes. Like I said, I bought a bunch at one time. I was able to make a real good purchase, a real good deal with my Home Depot people. I bought probably 15 toolboxes, 15 or 20 at one time, and did real good with it. I'm proud of what we got. We got them, like I said, on a real good sale, and that's what we're doing there. We're you can see I've got a lot of machine bolts, Carter keys, all kinds of different accessories, bolt accessories, pin accessories, machine tools, machine bolts, along with the regular standard metric bolt bends over there. I think that's the Windsor stuff that we buy, and it's a real good. And there I'm pointing out the double layered 3/4 inch plywood, so it's like an 1.5 inch plywood on top that makes it real strong. And because we expand it over a couple of toolboxes, we're able to get a lot of rigidity out of it. So that's what we've done there. And as you can see, there's a bunch of roller pins, Carter keys, just all kind of different accessories. Now here are the sterile Coney jacks. And I think some people have seen in the past. I've got I can the jack stands. I got a tractor trailer. I've got 4 of them, and I can put a tractor trailer up in the air and get under it and wash it and take it outside. Roll my sterile Coney lifts out there because they are portable. That's the cool thing about that. And I've got a variety of tools in the boxes. We try to have a good supply of sockets and all kind of different specialty tools. I have bought out a couple of mechanics over the years that had a lot of good tools, and we try to get them. I put more into the tools and the wrenches than I do the toolboxes. I know a lot of people like toolboxes, and I've got a good variety of toolboxes. Here are some of the red ones in here are, I think they're Milwaukee, actually. I know I've got 2 or 3 Milwaukee toolboxes, and I believe that's what we're looking at on those red ones. And I got that one and a Mac, and I actually have a older Snap-on box too that I bought from a friend. He retired a few years ago, and I bought all of his tools and his Snap-on toolbox. He had a pretty good sized Snap-on toolbox. I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But right there, that's some Home Depot tools from Husky, and which I like them pretty good. They're pretty good. They're like my Carlisle tools I sell at Napa. And we try. Now there's some used tools. That's some of Rogers that I bought, and just a lot. Like I said, a big variety of toolboxes that we try to carry. And I don't have not everything. Yeah, there's the Milwaukee toolboxes that I was talking about. Now they're pretty neat. They got like a workbench and some pegboard behind. I think most people have seen those. And those are, like I said, some Husky tools. Things are not really organized, so you're going to see it as it's our shop. So you're going to see what we got. It's nothing special. Nothing. I didn't go through here and try to make it fancy and laid out pretty. It is what it is. It's what the guys have done. It's however they got it laid in there. That's what you're going to see. Some boxes are, now that's a pop rivet. That's an air pop rivet gun there. I remember buying that. That's pretty neat. It saves the pop rivets. And let's see, what else have we got to show you there? Okay, there's my heater. There's my clean burn heater. We use so much oil. Now each of my trucks has 10 gallons of oil in the engine, and every 15,000 miles we change the oil. Now there's a regular floor transmission jack like we used to use right there. And there's some good industrial, big old Snap-on and Mac large wrenches there. I think, let's see, yeah, that's a Snap-on there, 1 3/16, and then I think I've got like a 2 3/16. That's some Snap-on, large Snap-on tools. I bought those from Roger Hollerfield. He was a good friend that retired, along with his Snap-on toolbox. And here's a little bit of my welding center I had over there, and a little bit of metal and woodworking bandsaw. I've got me a good Rikon big heavy industrial. Now this is a little inverter kit that we have. That's, you can take all the batteries there and charge them. It'll charge the batteries, and then after you have them charged, you can actually use that as an inverter and plug in 110 and run tools off of it. So electric tools or lights or anything else. So that's a pretty handy little piece that DeWalt has. If you're ever in need of an inverter, that's a good way to have one instead of having a motor running all the time. Well, there's my parts car. Walk down here to the end of the building. As you can see, it's 60 by 160 with three bay doors. I probably should have put more doors in there, and I may one day, but right now we just have 3 bay doors. And then I have a door in the front, a loading dock right here. And of course, there's one of my old trailers, old storage trailers I have, along with some other things. And that is pretty well the what I've got. Now I'm going to go by here some of my trucks. Now we have since sold some of these trucks. We had a sale last year, and we sold several of those. I've gotten rid of a lot of them. Of course, I have about that many again. We're always changing and updating and upgrading. Now we're getting rid of some of the other trucks we have. Now there is a Sterling that I converted into a tool truck. I was able to get a good bed off of a GMC, I believe it was. Anyway, we converted that. That was a real good tool truck, service truck bed, and it's got a crane on it. It's got a small crane, so I was able to get that, convert that into a service truck. And there's a couple of my Napa trucks. Now we're at shop number 2. This is right down the street, right across the street from the first one. And this is one where, believe it or not, the guys like working out of this shop more than they do the new shop. Don't know why. I guess it's because they're used to it. But this is the smaller shop. This shop is just, I want to say, I believe it's 80 by 80 or 60 by 80. It might be 60 by 80. I can't remember the exact size. But it's got 2 bays and then sort of an office and another storage area. I probably should have had more garage area, but I didn't at the time. I thought I needed more office space. But this is a truck that we had to replace a turbo on. As you can see, that I had a lot of blow by and everything else was coming off the engine, and we had to replace the turbo on it. Now here's my Miller welder, and this one does aluminum and TIG or MIG. And here's our air conditioner, our Robin Air conditioning machine. Very valuable, gets a lot of use. And again, here's some more of the Husky toolboxes. I've got them over here too at this shop, and I've got shelving just over them, so we're able to accommodate the size and everything, and just go straight up with that. And of course, here's some Windsor terminals and bolts and different things I've got there too. Can't have enough of that stuff. And there's a turbo, and I think maybe even the EGR cooler we had to work on this particular truck. Can't remember. We did have to put a turbo on it. And here's the other bay. It's empty right now. And then we have we'll walk over here and of course you can see some of the tires we have pre-mounted. We always have to keep, well, we got probably 15 tires pre-mounted and ready to go in case there's an emergency, in case there's blowouts, or in case something needs to be switched. We try to keep them all the same. Of course, there's another drill press we have. And some supplies. We got bearings and there's a lot of stuff. We're trying to do more of this over at our Napa store now and less of that right here inside the shop. But we still have a good supply of parts right here in the shop. Of course, here's some things I got for the milling machine at a sale. And of course, there's some airlines and porter power, generator, just a variety of different things, different little tool carts. And just there's some pigtails down there that we are fixing. And airlines, like I said, and hubs. We replace a lot of hubs on these trucks, and that's just a variety of fuses and small parts back here we keep on the pegboard. Just on and on. And over here we've got turbo clamps. We go through a lot of turbo clamps, of course, and always it's easier to replace one of those turbo clamps than it is to fix a breakdown. And sometimes we've kept some of those in the trucks. Some of the drivers that are mechanical minded, they'll put that on for us. Of course, some of them don't know how to use a screwdriver, so we can't. But well, I hope you've enjoyed our shop tour, and it's nothing too fancy. We've got we like them. It's two nice shops. We got a lot of work we can do to them, but that's our shops.